Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about flicking. For those who don't know, flicking is quickly moving your crosshair to a target on screen and then shooting. Flicking is normally done in a situation where a target appears in an unexpected location, so you might be pre-aiming at a certain point and then an enemy appears maybe at a nearby window and they're aiming at you and they're about to shoot you. So flicking is kind of like a reflex thing. An important part of flicking is micro corrections. So if a target appears on the far side of your monitor, you may use your arm to switch onto the target. However, you might not land on the target, so you will use your wrist or fingers to micro adjust. These are the components of flicking. I thought I'd give you an insight into how I approach flicking in Call of Duty using the Kar98k, which is a bolt action single shot rifle, one hit kill. Flicking is extremely important. It's very important to be precise, accurate, quick. I'm going to jump into a game with bots and I'm going to talk you through how I approach flicking using reference points. Right, we're in game and I'm aiming at this post. So before I explain what I mean by using references to support flicking, I'll tell you my sensitivity is quite low and I will demonstrate the reason for this. Now I'll explain what I mean by reference points. As you can see, the left hand side of my optic is positioned on the post, and what I've done is I have set my sensitivity so that when I do a full extension of my pinky and index finger on the right hand side of the mouse, I know that the crosshair will end up on the post, and it's the same for the other side. So if I do a full extension of my thumb on the left hand side of the mouse, I know it will land on the post. So this is extremely helpful for flicking onto targets. So it might be that a target appears on the far side of your screen, you flick to it, maybe you're off by a little bit, maybe you land here and then you just do a full extension and then bang. But the thing is, you're not always going to land here. You might land halfway. So because you know that the post is positioned in the middle of the crosshair and the right hand side of the optic, you know that you'll need to do a half extension of the thumb, so about 50% of the range. So you just do a half extension and then bam. So this is quite intuitive, especially in the heat of the moment in gunfights. It involves minimal thinking and it is quick to learn. The second reference point I use is for my wrist. Now, I know that the width from the crosshair to the post covers the full left extension of my wrist. So if I fully extend my wrist to the left, I know it's going to end up on the post. And so the way I remind myself with reference points is I think if I had another optic positioned to the left, my full extension of the wrist will land on the left hand side of that second optic. So I know that if a target is there, all I need to do is full extension of the wrist to the left and then bam. And it's the same on the right. Fully extend my wrist to the right, bam. These are hotspots on your screen where you'll find a lot of the time targets will appear. So by having these reference points, you can very quickly and easily just flick onto the targets, and by knowing the range of motion, you can adapt how much pressure you apply with your fingers or how much you extend your wrist. So given that I know the range of my wrist, this is currently at 100%. So if I fully extend to the right, I'll end up on the post. Now if I was in the middle, I know that I need to do only 50%. So I move my wrist to the right hand side about halfway. And so very quickly you can intuitively know how far you need to move your wrist. Bear in mind, you do need a fairly low sensitivity for this, so you will be limited in terms of the ability to quickly turn around. It's recommended you have a large mouse mat. Personally, I use a full desk mouse mat. An important thing when you're running a sensitivity this low is to know how far to move the mouse to do a 180 turn, so that if an enemy does appear behind you, you can quickly turn around, reposition your mouse and then flick onto them. I'll now demonstrate my flicking by shooting some bots.